Hey, my name's Cam, and for some of you, you do know me, and for the others, this is your first time hearing my voice. And honestly, this might sound a little crazy at first, but just stick with me for a minute. It's Holy Week, and nobody even notices. No slowdown, no pauses, no difference, just work bills and the same routine like any other week. But at the same time, we have people out here talking about politicians like they're saviors or like they're the Antichrist. And that got me thinking, did we replace something real with something else? Because if something like Holy Week can just pass like it's nothing, but politics still has people this fired up, what does that actually say about where we're at as a country right now? So let's talk about it. Welcome to PSIND, otherwise known as Politics Suck Independence. I'm Cam, and this is where we cut through the noise and just call it how it is. So let's actually break down what I said for a second. Holy Week, whether you're religious or not, is supposed to be one of the most important weeks of the year. It's supposed to mean something, it's supposed to slow things down a little bit. But in reality, most people don't even realize it's happening. You're still waking up early, you're going to work, dealing with the same stress, the same bills, the same routine, and nothing changes. And if anything, I could say that it's gotten worse. The point is, if something is supposed to matter culturally, shouldn't it actually show up in real life? Because right now it doesn't. But here's where it gets weird. Even though something like that barely gets attention, politics, that's where people are locked in. That's where people are emotional. That's where people are arguing like their life depends on it. And you hear it all the time. People say Trump is the Antichrist, he's our savior. Other people acting like he's going to do everything right and has done nothing wrong. And it's like, how did we get here? When did politics stop being about policies and start feeling like a religion? Because, in all honesty, that's what it feels like now. People don't just support politicians, they believe in them, or they hate them like they're evil. There is no middle ground anymore. And meanwhile, real life is still the same for most people. And this is the part where I'm just going to be real with you guys. I'm not sitting here acting like I've got everything figured out. I'm just looking at how life is for your common day to day person. You wake up early, you go to work, put in your hours, and you come home exhausted and do it all over again. That's real life. And nothing about that changes during something like Holy Week. It's just another week. Like for me, I get up at 4 a.m., I go to work. When I get up, I'm not thinking about politics or religion or anything like that. I'm thinking about getting through my day, getting my hours in to make sure that my bills and everything else is paid on time. That's reality. But then you go online or you hear people talking, and it's like everything is about politics. People are arguing nonstop, picking sides, acting like this stuff is life or death. And I'm just sitting here thinking, how does any of this actually help the average person? Because at some point it stopped being about real life and started being about belief, about who you ride with, who you hate, who you think is right or wrong. That's not a normal conversation anymore. That's something way deeper. That's why you get people saying wild stuff like Trump's the Antichrist or Trump's here to save everything. It's extreme on both sides. It just shows how far things have shifted over the past years. Meanwhile, most people are just trying to live, pay their bills, and take care of what they gotta take care of. And none of this noise actually matters or helps make your life easier. And the more I think about it, I don't even think this is really about politics or religion. I think it's about what people are holding on to. People want something to believe in, something to care about, something that feels bigger than just the everyday routine. And when life just feels like work, bills, and repeat, people are going to find a problem elsewhere to try to deflect from your day to day life. So maybe that's why politics are so loud, because it gives people something to latch onto, something to argue about, defend, and stand on. Even if it doesn't actually change your day to day life, and at the same time, something like Holy Week, which used to mean something so much deeper, just kind of fades into the bliss. Not because it disappeared, but because life really doesn't make space for it anymore. And I don't know, maybe that just says more about how we are as a country more than anything else. But I'll leave you with this. Maybe Holy Week didn't disappear. And maybe it just stopped showing up in the way we actually live. And maybe politics didn't get more important. Maybe they just got louder, louder than everything else in the world, because at the end of the day, most of us are just waking up, going to work, and trying to handle life. Trying to figure things out as we go. And none of this noise will change that. So maybe the question isn't who's right or who's wrong. Maybe it's about what actually matters anymore. This is PSIND, Politics Suck, Independence. I'm Cam. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you for listening, and we're just getting started. However, this is my first episode, and I really am just putting this out there just to see more or less what people have to say or your comments or your suggestions. If you enjoy this, like I said, if you've never heard my voice before and you don't know who I am, love to hear your opinions and your comments. Same with people that I do know. Like, yeah, I'm sure I've had disagreements with at least one of you. But at the same time, you're still someone that I care about because, in the end of the day, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever you are, we're still human beings. And, it's hard for me to understand where people are coming from when they don't see both sides of the opinion. They only see what is right to them. And, I'm always willing to try to talk to somebody and, I guess, try to see both sides of the argument. But it's really hard to try to have a civilized argument, because that is a thing. A civilized argument is a thing. But you can't have a civilized argument if the first time somebody talks bad about Trump, it's, oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome. No, it's called having your own opinion. Trump derangement syndrome is somebody that walks around in MAGA everything and says, no matter what this guy does, he is number one. Like, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. As you can tell in the name of this podcast, it's Politics Suck, because they do suck now. I just want this country to wake up and understand that what our politicians are doing in a day-to-day basis has nothing to do with you and I, but only aligns their pocketbooks more. Not you and I. Which, sure, you can follow the insider tradings, whatever, but in the end of the day, they don't give a crap about us, guys. They don't give a crap about the middle class. I'm not going to get on a rant on my first episode like this and basically just show my political views and everything that I stand for, but we'll get to that. This is more or less about the fact that Holy Week comes through and our government portrays the Holy Week, and we have people comparing our president to Jesus. I'm agnostic, and it baffles me to hear a random person compare Trump to Jesus. I just want you to collect those thoughts on this Easter Sunday. Have a good day, guys.